It's, if I could best describe it, it would be like a screaming like howl, or almost like some like melodic tone to it, very very high pitch, drawn out. When you hear it, when I heard it, like people say, the myth of the mermaid, luring sailors with their, the song and stuff. When I wanted to get as close to the water as I possibly could when I heard this noise, but like something told me like not to go in, because obviously it was March, the weather was horrible, the water was cold, but I tried to get as close as I possibly could to that water, and that noise literally messed me up. I kept hearing it all the time. I got home from a fishing trip. I went into the shower, and I literally just started hearing it all around, like the same time I heard it, like all around the boat. It was nuts. I had to talk to somebody about it. It was like really like a problem.
The history of our Earth is so different from what we can imagine.
Enjoy the journey.
The Smithsonian, if they found out about a large skeleton somewhere, was to go get it.
I'm going to assume at least one person is right, because if one person's right, it busts the paradigm.
It all goes back to the fallen cherub. And the problem with the modern day church, they have a very truncated view of the supernatural.
This backdrop that's just pregnant with all kinds of meaning associated with this Mount Hermon event.
Welcome to Blurry Creatures.
And this guy defects from the kingdom. That's a big deal.
Welcome back to Blurry Creatures. We're going underwater today, or we're going out on the water, whatever you want to say this. A lot of people have been teasing or asking us, Luke, for a long time, when are you going to do episodes on mermaids, the marine creatures, the water world, your favorite movie? Yes. We don't have the smokers, but we definitely got some great material. We're in it. We recorded an episode with Dan Duvall about mermaids, and now we got the fisherman who has had multiple encounters with the mermaids out on the water on the East Coast. And we've been emailing this guy for a long time. Posted some videos a couple years ago where he hears them singing, and then he catches them swimming through the waves. And they're really good videos. I thought they were legitimate right away. And a lot of stuff I think is fake, but I wanted this guy's, I'm like, dude, just come on and tell your story. And he's a busy guy. He said he's out on the water 200 days a year. Luke, is your mind rattled a little bit right now? What do you think? I
think it's fun that almost after really almost 3 years into this, we're getting into some of the Water Kingdom stuff, and this is these videos are fascinating. And it took us, as you said, it took us a while to track down Ryan, but he had some real experiences, and he filmed them and posted them, and his story is really wild. It's great to get a chance to sit down with a guy that shot the video. Get a chance to talk to him and run through what happened on these occasions that he ran into what for all intents and purposes sounds like merfolk and or sirens, however you want to qualify this. It is a fascinating wild ride and experience that he's been on. He's a fisherman, right? He's a guy that works on the water, works out of Massachusetts, and for whatever reason in this area he's had multiple encounters with something in the water that isn't supposed to be there. And this is a guy that sees whales and dolphins and everything in between. Mm-hmm. And there was something out there on a few of these occasions that wasn't that.
Yeah. Sometimes things align on our show, Luke. It's like, people ask us to do topics, and then all of a sudden it just all hits at once. You got 5 people talking about the same thing all out of nowhere. And it feels like sometimes the stories are supposed to tell themselves at the right time. And so we have, these two episodes kind of syncing up. I like it. Ryan's really cool guy. Go hit him up on his socials. He seems like a really genuine, honest guy that just, like you said, he's just a humble dude. That he's not an AI expert. He's not using, Adobe Premiere and Final Cut. He's not making this stuff up on computers and hoaxing people. Yep. And we live in that time, so people are skeptical. But if you want to support the show, blurrycreatures.com/members. Obviously, Luke and I spend a lot of time finding these stories, and sometimes emailing people for years. and we don't give up, and we get them on the show. And you gotta build trust with your audience. And a lot of people who have experienced something, they don't want to just go out and tell their story on any old show. They want to feel like the people they go talk to about their experience are at least serious about the content. And I think hopefully, Luke, people think that about us now. But your support of the show helps us continue to not get up one day and be like, we're going to get them on the show today. It's going to happen. You can't give up. So blurrycreatures.com/members, become a member and join in on all the fun. And let's get Ryan on this one. And Luke's going to do his best Little Mermaid song to sing us out here.
Yes, that's right. Under the sea. Darling, it's better down where it's wetter. Take it from me.
Up on the shore, we work all day.
It feels like spoken word. All right, let's get Ryan on.
Welcome to Blurry Creatures. Welcome to the podcast. Like I was saying before the show got started, we talk about all the blurry creatures out there, and we just did an episode with like a guy who does deliverance ministry for people who've been through heavy satanic ritual abuse, who was talking about mermaids, and then you message us and you're like, bro, are we going to do a show or what? And I'm like, well, this is interesting because we were just so
Timing's funny, huh?
The timing is funny. So welcome to the podcast. You're a commercial fisherman, and you had a couple videos go viral about these entities.
Yeah, it was a crazy experience, man. It really was, because being a fisherman, I've been a fisherman for like 5 years now. So I've seen like some crazy stuff on the ocean. I've seen, lights pop up out of the water. I've seen things, the UFOs that in the sky, because there's no buildings, there's no air pollution out there. So when you see the night sky, you see it clear. You can tell the difference between a plane and the way a plane moves and things like that. But when I heard these things in the ocean, man, it was a totally different experience, man. It literally changed my life in so many ways. Even
Ryan, where do you fish out of, so we can give our audience an idea of generally speaking?
So I fish out of New Bedford, Massachusetts. It's I think it's number 2 in the world right now as far as revenue and shellfish. What is Tokyo? Yeah, we're.
Are you shrimping? Are you lobster fishing? Is that what you're doing mostly? Or
no, I'm a quahog and I'm a scallop fisherman. I do both. Yeah,
very cool. And forgive my ignorance, because I've done some fishing on the eastern seaboard, but it's been a while. Do you go to is that the Outer Banks you're heading out to? Is that the area you fish?
Sometimes when they have the open spots out there, we go to the Outer Banks. We go to Georges Banks, Grand Banks out there. We fish a lot over Lightship by Nantucket. We sometimes go up by Nova Scotia. We go as far down as Virginia Beach over there and fish.
Man, so walk us through that night. Walk us through like how when you said your life changed. Take our listeners through it.
It was crazy. So I was working on a time at the Lady Brittany. I was working on that boat, and we were cohogging. We were in the Nantucket Shoals, which is probably about 150 miles offshore of where Nantucket is. So cell service is actually kind of decent there, So I had my phone going, and I was a TikToker at the time, and I was just uploading my fishing stuff because I felt like people liked that stuff, and they did. It's almost like watching the guys on TV, the wildest catch, and things like that.
It's dangerous catch. Oh yeah.
What I do is like literally that type of stuff. I'm out in the ocean, waves are crazy, see dolphins, whales, all that stuff. So I record it, and I heard these noises. It was crazy. And when I first heard them, I'm like, all right, that's fine. Some dolphins are nearby, but I was like so strange, because usually when you hear the dolphins, 100% of the time you see them.
Right.
Because dolphins travel in like packs. They come squad deep with their whole pod. So when you hear them, you usually see them. It's not like they have these little fish in the ocean. And all of a sudden, like I heard them all around the boat. Like it wasn't just one. It was on starboard side. It was on the bow. It was literally just surrounding me. So then I just pulled out my phone and I started recording. I started going live, and it was
Yeah, I thought it'd be a good time to play Ryan's audio right now. So here, this is what he recorded. You can listen for yourself.
This is crazy. I heard it. I heard it. I hear it. Oh my God.
I started going live. I cleaned the deck. I ended up throwing a crab overboard. Like literally 30 seconds later, that crab came back at me. That was like a crazy experience because things like that don't happen. I was going live when it happened. Yeah.
Dude.
It's crazy. And the whole time, my captain's there. There's other guys on the fishing boat, and they want nothing to do with this. Like we were doing only like a 3-man crew at the time. We were going short-handed, but it was just it was amazing.
What did it, Ryan? What does it sound like? You know, because I know that we'll pull up the video, but
it's, if I could best describe it, it would be like a screaming like howl. It would be like a screaming howl, or almost like some like melodic tone to it, very very high pitch, drawn out. Like when you hear it, when I heard it, like people say, you know, the myth of the mermaid, you know, draw luring sailors with their, you know, their song and stuff. When I wanted to get as close to the water as I possibly could when I heard this noise, you know. Wow. But like something told me like not to go in because obviously it was March, the weather was horrible, the water was cold, you know. But I tried to get as close as I possibly could to that water, and that noise literally messed me up.
Really?
Like, yeah, because it was. I kept hearing it all the time. I got home from a fishing trip. I went into the shower, and I literally just started hearing it all around. Like the same time I heard it, like all around the boat. It was nuts. I had to talk to somebody about it. It was like really like a problem.
Wow. Is it, Ryan? Is it like a beautiful sound, or is it just like this? Like this? Is it just a drawing?
I think it's a beautiful sound. But when other people hear that noise, I think people have different reactions to it. It's kind of amazing. Some people, it's like nails on a chalkboard. I've been heard, you know, to them they don't like it one bit. I think it's a beautiful sound because you don't really hear it.
So this is something that sailors talk about. They've people
for centuries they've talked about this.
No, I mean like your friends on the boat, like people know about this.
Oh yes. There was actually one of the guys that was on the boat. God rest his soul. His name Buddy's Dave. He passed away a few months ago. He had a heart attack out in the ocean, but he was there. I have video of him when the noise actually followed us back into the dock. So the noise followed us all the way back in, and I was recording it the whole time, and it stopped. All of a sudden, when we're unloading, and I take my phone out because I hear it, my buddy Dave, you know, he's on the top swinging cages. He's like, "What the heck is that noise?" I'm like, "I know what that noise is, man." He's like, "Get that bitch away from me." He's like he didn't mess with it, you know. Fishermen have stories. If you ever have a chance to talk to any fisherman, I bet you they'll tell you some crazy things they've seen or heard out there. You know, it's our job to be out there, like with Mother Nature, and like you see some crazy stuff.
Right? Yeah. Does anyone, you know, when this has experience, as you say, had anyone on the boat, like some of the other fishermen, had they had this before? They knew what was happening? Like, is this something that, or was this a new experience for the captain and the rest of the crew?
When I talked to my captain about it, he's very iffy about it. You know, he's an older dude. You know, he's in his 60s. You know, he's been fishing for a while, and he's kind of like a man of little words. Uh-huh. But you're not. He has a mermaid tattoo, a pinup on his arm that he's had, you know, since he started fishing, you know, maybe 30 years ago. So he literally wants nothing to do with it. When I bring it up to him, he's like, "Do what you want. I don't want nothing to do with that. Do what you want. I want nothing to do with that."
Man.
So
when did you think that these are mermaids? When is that going through your mind?
When I was actually just, because people would show me videos of the dolphins. They'd be like, "That's not a dolphin, what you heard." And then I started thinking about it. And then we went on another fishing trip, and it happened again. Because we were fishing in the same area. This happened between like a moment of like a month span when we were fishing in this one area. Maybe like on 4 fishing trips in a row I went on. So there was a point where I went up and I started like screaming out, talking, like saying like, "Where are you?" in the video. And the only time that noise would happen was when I would say it. It was almost like communicating with me. It was like intelligent. It was intelligent. It's not like it was randomly doing this noise. It was like every time I would say something, it would come back.
And this is Ryan. This is each successive time. Like the first time, it just happens, right? And then the next few times, you go to the same area and you start kind of talking to whatever's in the water.
Yep. And then that's the video where you literally hear it say, you know, jump for me, you know, and I didn't even hear that when I was out there. You know, sometimes when I was going live, the people on the live would hear the noise and I wouldn't be able to hear it at all because where I'm standing on the boat and all the noise, but it was like maybe 4 trips, I'm pretty sure, 4 trips in a row that this happened, fishing off Nantucket Shoal. Yeah.
Did you ever see anything though? Did you ever see anything in the water?
Yes, I've seen things, and I've recorded the things that I've seen too. You know, they're never like perfect mermaid shots, but you know what? They're pretty good. Like if you look at them, you can see like that they're not fish. It's not a fish, because a fish, if you look at the video, the arm, there's like these arms there, and it's just it's not normal. Like I know what normal is on the ocean. I fish all year round. It's not like they close down any, because I fish for multiple things. 200 days out of the year, I'm out in the ocean. Mm-hmm. So I fish a lot. I see a lot of things, and this was not normal.
Yeah, there's that. So I've seen a couple of videos our listeners sent. The original one that went viral, everyone was saying was basically you like just on the boat, mesmerized by this singing, and then the second one that the people were sending us, and I saw it almost looked like they're swimming through the waves and you go from side to side, and obviously in the age where everyone can spoof things, you know, everyone makes fake stuff now with AI and all this. People are so skeptical, but we were already emailing at that time trying to get you on the show.
When those two things were swimming on the side of the boat, that was during the end. That was when the government had actually showed up on the boat. Like that was when the lab was there when I shot that video. That was the craziness about that.
Well, you got to back up and tell us about this. But real quick, I want to make one point for our listeners, and what I think is fascinating. The way that you describe how you fish 200 days a year and you know everything in the water. Nate's exactly the same way we talk about hunters being in the woods and saying, I know everything in the woods. And when there's an encounter with a creature, or usually a Bigfoot or Sasquatch creature, they go, I know everything in the woods, and that isn't it. That's nothing I've seen before. Right. And I think that's a fascinating parallel, because in the same way, you're really a hunter on the water, and you're like, I've seen everything. Right. I know what everything is out here, and this is something different. And so I think that's just such an interesting juxtaposition, because you're just on the water and hunters are on land, and you're having these creature encounters. But
when you
I don't want to
so much time in a certain area, and you just know it's just exactly what you said. Same with the Bigfoot being up.
But I don't want to cut you off, because it's fascinating. So you have these encounters, and it's a number of these places in the same area, and then you say that the government comes out. Can you tell the story of what happens here?
So once we came in and I started posting these videos, I was home for maybe it was about a total of, I think it was like 32 hours I was home before I had to go on my next trip. The next trip I went on, my captain tells us, NOAA's coming on. NOAA is a government-funded scientific agency that goes out on the boats, and they survey the ocean. And they sent a letter saying that, your boat has been randomly picked to go on a survey. So I was sitting there, I was like, okay. They're like, we're gonna get paid real good, this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, yeah, sure we are. Let's find this out. So next day, all the white vans come up. We have to take everything off of our boat because we have 180 cages on them. We got to take all that stuff on and put this huge, maybe 20-foot by 15-foot wide pod, which is like their laboratory. So I'm there. I'm shooting all these videos. I'm like, what's this? This is crazy. I do one survey week with them, right? No, what it is they have all these tech gears that go on the boats, all these sonars they strap to the bottom, everything that lets them know on the computers how deep the ocean is. Crazy types of technology. Crazy things I didn't even know were around. So we hooked those up, and they have this computer. It picks random spots on the ocean. And what we do is we have to go to that random spot, drop the dredge down, and whatever comes up, they take it all into that lab and they sift through it. So that basically, it was like a month of doing that.
Wow.
And you think that this obviously is not. It's, to me, it's hilarious. It's like when, you know, when people randomly, and I use this in quotes, get selected at the airport. You know, you're like, okay, like this. I got randomly selected one time coming back from Afghanistan, and
because you have a beard.
Yeah, because I have a beard, and I was at that point I was in great shape, and they thought I was doing some sort of black water. This is a whole other story from another time, not important, but you know it's not random. And then you end up having to go to the same place. So when you're out there with Noah, does this phenomena does this happen again?
So I was only on. It was a 4-week program that they did. I was only on for 1 week, and at the end of the week is when I caught that video of those two things swimming on the side of the boat really fast, and we were steaming, going about maybe like 18 knots, and that's pretty fast in the water. It's probably maybe I don't know, 27 miles an hour.
Wow.
For something to be going that fast and keeping up with us, that's pretty impressive, you know. And then so I took that video, I posted it. Then we had 2 days off the first leg. So I went to go get my check from my captain's house. Now, my captain lives in a very, you know, wooded area, a lot of twisty, turny roads. I go there, grab my check. On the way back, there's another car pulling up on the side of me with this high beams. And the high beams are so bright, I missed this turn. I go off and hit a tree, and then that car keeps driving. Dude. So I missed the last 3 legs of. I didn't get to go on any more things with the government. I missed the last 3 legs first because I had a broken leg. So that is another thing that ties into this whole little conspiracy thing. That's another coincidence.
Mm.
I feel like I was like somebody tried to take me out or something, because it's crazy. First of all, why wouldn't the person stop? Are you that much of a jerk? Like, you're that much of a jerk.
And there are people like that, right? But it's sort of the timing is what lends you to kind of be like, this is,
it's literally the timing.
Yeah.
Like, looks like a duck, quacks like a duck.
It's a duck, yeah.
Well, we hear the same. We hear the same kind of stories with Sasquatch. There's a lot of people who claim to have shot this thing, and there's always mystery of like the body disappears or they don't want to pull it out, and maybe craft coming in taking this body out. So, and it's a similar thing. It's like, even if somebody ended up bagging one of these Bigfoot creatures, the chances of it being brought out on a table and making the nightly news it's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, no.
It's not going to happen at all. It's sad. It really is, but I doubt it.
It makes you wonder, though, right? Like, what else is high? Yeah, it's wild, because this is such a crazy cool story, in the sense of like you're the person that's actually providing an outlet to the public, right?
Yeah, I'm doing everything I can. I went even as far as while we were fishing out, while we were off in Nantucket Shoals doing over there, I found this bone. I found this tailbone, right? And I'm like, I've never seen a bone like this. This was when I was hearing all the noises. There's like tons of things. I still have this bone here today. It's in my storage. Okay.
All right.
I took that bone. So where I live, it used to be the whaling city of the world back in the day. Everybody used to get their oil, like the whale oil, from New Bedford. It's like stamped, approved. It's like huge whaling city. So there's a whaling museum. Now, in that whaling museum, there are 2 professors of marine biology. I brought this bone to them. They didn't know what it was.
Oh.
I had the video on my TikTok. I brought this bone I made a meeting with this guy. It took me like 3 months for him to get back to me. I finally did it. I set it down in front of him. He looks at it. First thing he does is he takes out his phone, starts taking pictures, right? Then he takes out this little like measuring stick, measures, starts asking me where I got this. He tells me he's emailing like 3 or 4 of his colleagues, sending them the same picture. Nobody knows what it is. And he asked me if he could keep it. And I said, no.
Good. Hey, and if the Smithsonian comes calling, don't let them have it, dude. They like to.
Yeah.
He just emailed me a month ago asking me if he could take a sample of it. And I said, what is a sample? Like, what is your version of a sample?
Yeah.
And he hasn't gotten back to me.
Don't let those guys. Don't let them take it, man. They'll disappear it.
No, it won't. That's what I'm saying. It won't be found again. You know. So maybe we gotta do another podcast, and I'll bring that on. Story. No, I don't pick it out at all, because it's just
get the bone out, and we'll go right into the bone zone, as we say on the show.
I like that.
Yeah, we talk a lot about giants, so like the ancient giants that farmers were digging up these skeletons for decades, and sure enough, every time the bones came out, They went missing. They went gone. You know, it's always some government agency shows up, whether it's a university or it's the Smithsonian or someone's on the scene, and then the bones never return. So to take you back to your first encounter, you said these voices, and then I want to go ask a few more questions about them swimming on the side of the boat.
Yeah.
What can you describe how you felt when they're singing to you again? Like, do you feel like you're out of your mind? Do you feel like you're in a trance? You said they were talking to you. You said you could hear them say jump in?
Yeah. Jumped for me. Like I have it on the video clear as day. And it's crazy because you hear it and you know it's different. You hear it, but when I heard it, I got like excited because like but the noise to me, it was just, I can't even explain, man. It didn't make me scared. It didn't make me nervous. It wasn't like there was no malice or predatory thing about it. I feel I just felt like it was just more of not a cry for help, but just like, hey, I'm here type thing, you know?
It's wild.
I see you. It's very strange. It's very strange.
Do you think this is how the legend was born? Like people were jumping out of boats?
I really do because there's countless numbers of these legends. And it's not just like one or two. And it's not like they just started happening. You know, these things go back. Book of Enoch talks about sirens.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the fallen angels that came down and mated with the humans and then they were banished down. Like, isn't that like the story?
Yeah.
So from then, you know, this has happened.
It reminds me of just like, it's like a Brother Bar Out Thou, right? You have this, or even just Ulysses, right? You have, which is the same thing.
Yeah.
Where you have these sirens that were just, it's calling you essentially to your doom, right? And it's just this alluring, and as Nate said, it's almost like the descriptions are historically that it's like this overwhelming sense of it's calling you, pulling you, alluring you.
Yeah, it really is. Like when I tell you when I heard this, I got to the edge of the boat, like close as I possibly could, practically leaning over, trying to see, trying to hear. So I could understand why, because you know what, they're trying to hear this noise, they hit a wave, they might fall in, you know? So that's the kind of aspect where it comes down for me being a fisherman, as to like, all right, I'm leaning over the edge right now, I'm hitting waves. No wonder why tons of these men went overboard hearing this sound.
Yeah.
We know the ancients, based on our show, that they knew a lot about frequencies and they knew how to use sound to manipulate a lot of people. And the same thing is just kind of described with Bigfoot. Like people will walk into like a wall, like they walk into a frequency that creates the opposite effect. Yeah. It makes them terrified. It's like they have a panic attack the moment they walk close to the Sasquatch. It's like they freak out. So
they freak out just from the essence or the energy. It's just it's crazy.
I think these sounds like these things do the opposite. They give you a pleasant, like almost like catnip, and you're like,
right.
I gotta go. I can't
for you. You know,
they do. They call you in, and then you're filming these things. Which here's the hard part about these videos is because I know you. That's why I wanted to talk to you directly, because when you're filming this stuff, you still have the engine, you have the boat noise, you have the waves. You can't really hear it like you can. You're on the boat, and you can filter out all the background noise, and you can hear it directly. Right. It's hard to hear on the video them talking to you. What's the difference between them singing and actually talking to you, communicating? What's that sound like?
It's pretty much in the same because like when she was like I don't know if it was he, she, whatever it was, but it was like jump for me, and then you heard the it was like crazy. Like I will send you the actual video clip I have. I think that video itself, and the video where you see it pop up over the wave, and I stop it, and somebody else showed me that it pops up over the wave, and you see the eyes, you see the whole body, you see the fin tails at the end. Like that, they're my most viewed videos on TikTok, and it's crazy. It's just gives me goosebumps, man, just talking about those moments, because it's like that's real experience. I really experienced some crazy shit.
Yeah, seriously. Have you had anything happen in sort of in that vein outside of that area, or is it really only ever been off?
No, that's the thing. So I try when I go out there fishing, amidst doing my normal fishing job and everything. I'm always on the scope now, but I have never heard or had that type of interaction with that same in the same way I had in that spot. They closed that spot.
Wow. Why?
Maybe like 3 months after, the end of a year ago, they closed off that spot. They just reopened it. 2 months ago, they just reopened it. So
wow.
Nobody was allowed to fish there. Nobody for a whole year and a half.
I mean,
there's so many like things. It's just, and only people who have the authority to close off section of the ocean is the government.
Right.
Like,
not even just one government, multiple governments would have to be involved.
Possibly
in that.
multiple, you know, because international waters, you might need to have a whole group of people involved in that. But still,
that's interesting. That's fascinating. So, what do you think these things are? I mean, you've pretty much seen them, you've heard them. I mean, you've probably done a lot of research.
I think what we think of mermaids, sirens, whatever we've been taught through TV to call them, they're ETs. They're extraterrestrials that have a base underwater. If extraterrestrials can travel light speed from planet to planet, and the government is now telling us that they are real, who's to say that they can't live in the water under the pressure? We can't withstand it. Yeah, but they can. That's how I see it. That's how I see my whole version of what I think they really are.
Well, we talked about that with Dan Duvall about these underwater marine bases, and a lot of people see and have recorded and UFOs flying, going through the water, basically traveling the same speeds. And have you seen any UFOs or anything come out of the water or any lights?
I've been on 2 fishing trips where we've just been out. It's been nighttime, and you look off in the distance and you just see this ball. One time it was blue, and one time it was like a fire orange. And the fire orange, it was like literally looked like it was on fire, and it like literally just comes up the water. The blue one just went off like boom, right there. The orange one split up into 3 different balls. They did some dances around each other, then they left. Like that was like, but that happens all the time on the ocean. That is so common. Like any fisherman can tell you some stories like that, seeing UFOs out there, because it's just so bright.
And you're working the nights?
Yeah. The moon will light up the night sky just as the sun does during the day, because there's no air pollution, there's no buildings, there's no shadows. It's literally just water reflecting back up. So it's just, you see it, every star burns bright, everything. So it's,
Yeah.
You can see so much more. Yeah, without light pollution, it's unbelievable what you can see. Especially when you can do it on land, right? You get out to places in the desert, places where there's just not any city lights and not any electricity that's lighting up the sky, and it's incredible what is visible.
And you see with just your naked eye,
Yeah, and what you're talking about is just classic UFO, like a fiery red ball that splits into smaller ones is very classic UFO sort of behavior.
Planes don't just fly around each other and like some type of
no, you can't.
It almost looked like they were communicating the way they were moving. It's weird when you see things. It's so weird when you see things. It's just another normal day out the ocean, man. It really is.
I don't know. I don't think I could do that job. I mean, it's so the open water.
I always say, if you have a chance to, if you can get past the seasickness, which I thankfully have never, that's the main problem with people not being able to fish. They either don't like being not able to see land, or they get just seasick being on the actual ocean, because the ocean is rough, but you get a chance.
I've been seasick. It makes you want to die. It's
people look like they're going through it pretty bad.
We did a deep dive on the ghost ships that people used to see, where these back in, sort of the tail end of before commercial ships came around, people were seeing these wooden ships come out, and they would sail up next to the other sailors. They would be parallel with them, and it was almost like there was nobody on the ship. And it was
That's crazy.
And there's so many accounts of the ghost ships that.
It's so funny you mentioned this. This is crazy.
Yeah, they would pace. The ship would pace.
They would keep pace.
Ship, and there'd be nobody aboard.
Our last trip, we just had this boat popping up on our sonar, right? There was a boat popping up on our sonar. My captain's in the wheelhouse. It was a foggy night. Like, I can't see anything. I can't see. And like, looked like it was coming right for us. And then all of a sudden, it just, nothing there.
Oh, buddy.
And I'm just like, you alright, old man? I'm just like, but now that you mentioned this, like the ghost ship thing is actually kind of yeah. It's funny that you mentioned.
Well, if you see it, yeah. So these sailors report saying these things like, and the way that they would describe it is, boats don't just float adrift on the sea. They have to actually be set a course and stay the course if they're going to catch up to you, at least, right?
Even with a sail, you have to know which way to go.
Yeah. But it's a phenomenon out there on the water. Some weird stuff happening. So you think that these mermaids weren't originally here. They're coming from somewhere else. They were put here. How big?
They might have been here first. The ocean is we don't know nothing, man.
Agreed. We knew very little about the ocean, which is scary and fascinating.
Octopuses are aliens, because
they're delicious too, which is
they
weird.
are.
It's a weird.
So how big? So these things are swimming around. You said at one point you thought there were multiple of them.
They're huge. What I see on my own eye, what I think, like scale wise, because I'm looking at it through water up above, maybe about 20 feet above the water, because my boat it stands up like that. So I'm actually looking down when I see it. Tail itself, maybe 12 feet long, big,
They're like a shark out there.
Big bodies, just long arms. To in the video that I shown where it was swimming away, you can see the back of the arms almost touching, the mid tail. So the front of it's just, but I just never get that like really good like video of it. Like I just, it's just always underwater. Or it's always at nighttime, or it's always like a pause of a video. It's just
a little blurry.
Just a little
blurry. That's the way we like it, guys. Just the way we like it.
It's on brand, Ryan. On brand. Yeah.
But but do they look human, or do they look like their own like weird species?
From what I saw, like from facial to shoulders, it has the frame of a human, but literally, I would think it's their own species. It would have to be, I don't think they would look like us.
Like a hybrid.
Well, you hear like in Greek mythology, all these things. You have the centaurs, and you've got these half-human
minotaurs.
Yeah, these
goat man.
Goat man.
Yeah.
But there's like a human part of a lot of these chimerical creatures, right? And that's sort of the, we all have the Little Mermaid story in our head growing up. That
very true.
She's mostly female, which is what you wonder if some sort of allure for a sailor to actually jump out there. It's like this whole like marine kingdom of women are just calling them in, and men are stupid for women as it is. But then I just wonder if it was some kind of chimerical creature that managed to survive.
It survived to be around this long. Oh, it survived, all right. So if the story is still continuing now.
Is there an island out there, you think? There's an island of these ladies somewhere out there? Pleasure Island?
If there is, man, I need to set course for that, and I'm going to send you guys a postcard.
Hey, Ryan, I want to ask you, though, like, on the, when you talked about Noah coming out and you saw it on this last voyage, you had the government show up, and you had this crazy incident where you got run off the road. Have you had... Since then, because you posted this publicly, right, and you have you have a pretty big TikTok following, and these things went viral. Have you had any of these people reach out? Like, we consider maybe.
I've had anonymous people to tell me to stop what I'm doing. I've had anonymous letters to my house, to my personal address,
scary,
which I never posted before. We're watching you. We know what you're doing. Stop it. I've had cars parked outside my house for like no reason at all that I know, just I don't know if it got to me at a certain point, because at a certain point when this was all happening, it was a lot to deal with, because I had just gotten to the accident. I had just broken my leg. I was missing out on work. I was on the couch, and while I'm posting all these videos, I'm getting all this thing of people watching me and seeing what I'm doing. It's just like, all right, kind of might need to step back a little bit.
Well, that's what they want, Ryan. I mean, this sounds a lot like when people have really up close, encounters with UFOs, or even ETs in that sense, where all of a sudden you have this what feels like a program or initiative of intimidation, right? Where they want people to be quiet. They want you to stop. They want you to shut up. They don't want you to talk about it. And this is the same things you hear with people that have had experiences with craft or experiences like up close or even retrieved pieces of
the guy who saw the giant, you know?
Yes, the guy saw the giant. That one was weird, very weird. But and then what happens inevitably, right? Whether true or not, is that then this narrative begins. It says that like, oh, this person was suicidal. This person was having mental issues, and so when they're disappeared, or they disappear. I don't know how I got balloons there, but when they're disappeared, this has happened once before. I don't know what's going on with Zoom, but
I love it.
That's the narrative, though, right? That's what's pushed. Then is that like this person was unstable. So Ryan, you're in your right mind. You're a sharp guy. You're happily.
I tried it. I laid low for a little bit, but then I'm just like, man, I'm still a fisherman. I felt like I had a duty. Because of all these things that are happening now I have like this reason, like other than just going out fishing. I gotta try to prove something. Or I gotta try to find something. I gotta try to show people like this is really what's happening out here. People like, oh, I just want to know if it's fake. Man, I'm not no Steven Spielberg, man. I'm a fisherman. I graduated high school and that was pretty much it. Got right into fishing. I could barely use my iPhone, sometimes. I'm gonna keep it real.
Use it well enough. You can use it well enough, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I can barely use that. It's just.
Yeah, people. Well, I mean, we live in the disinformation age, right?
Dude,
so
it's a crazy story, though. If somebody came up and told me this story, I'd be like, honestly, I would. But since I lived through it, it's a little different for me.
Well, plus you got video, right? Which is the ultimate validator of the situation, because you can come back and tell any story and they'd be like, it's a fish story, right? You got a fisherman telling stories, but you're like, here's the receipts, and you're like, and I'm not the dude that's making AI videos. I'm not a video editor.
Well,
I don't have a closet like video
like,
video production.
You played that noise. You played that noise over the loudspeaker on the boat. I'm like, yeah. I went up and I'm like, hey, Cap, play this Mermaid mixtape 3.
I burned this CD. I got something nice for us.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, we only use those for emergencies. Mid overboard, or we're taking on water so that everybody hears it. Nobody have to play with that. So it's just people being people.
And for those listening, I think I've been messaging you for well over a year trying to get you on the show, and which is good. Luke and I don't give up, and I know that if somebody's hoaxing or faking, they never really want to come on a show like ours and actually tell you what they've encountered. But Luke and I have heard so many weird things over the last 3+ years of doing the show. This really isn't that. It really isn't that wild in comparison to some of the other stuff we've heard. Like, it just gets stranger and stranger. But I have a question about the voice that they're putting out. What's the difference between how they sound in like a dolphin or whales or some other marine animal that's communicating and doing this? And is it when they come out of the water, or is it under the water and it's resonating through the water? Do they ever come out of the water and you hear it outside and then they go under?
See, when I hear it, I never see them pop up. So they're making this noise, from what I think, underneath the water, and that's strange to kind of have that much, things that do that. Humpback whales. If a humpback whale is doing that, you're seeing a humpback whale. There's no hiding a humpback whale.
Yeah. It's as big as the boat.
That's what I'm saying. Probably even bigger. But it's just when you hear these noises, it's totally different. I've done the research. The dolphins, everybody's seen Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
It's just not. It just feel like it wasn't a noise to me. It wasn't just a noise. It was a conversation, because it was something intelligent behind it. It really was. Like, to me, because it was almost answering every time I said something.
And you've heard dolphins, you've heard whales, you've heard all this stuff. So this is the same thing. It's the hunter paradigm where you're like, I know all the things and what they sound like.
Yes.
Well, so I mean, obviously, you're a musician, I'm a musician. You know I was a singer in a band for a long time, and spent a lot of time working on my voice. To have something that booming underwater, I mean, that means your vocal cords have to be 100 times the power what it would be out above the surface. So you're talking about a creature that not only can sing, but it can sing,
resonate that noise to. It's like underneath water, so that it can carry its sound. That's crazy. You know what? I've never really broken it down like that, but that's amazing to even think about.
Yeah,
to have that strong of a vocal cord to do that. And like I said, humpback whales can do that. Their vocal cords are freaking huge, But
and how many do you think were under there at that time when you said you were surrounded? How many do you think were?
When I was hearing from the noise from all around different angles, it sounded like maybe 10, at least 10.
Wow.
Because I'd look and then I'd look here. When you're on the ocean, you hear it coming from where it is because there's nothing blocking the sound. So you hear it wherever it's coming from. They were everywhere. It was crazy.
But you can't go back because those waters are off limits now. Isn't that interesting?
No, I said they opened them up.
They just opened them up 2 months ago.
Are you going back?
Months ago. We haven't been allowed to go back because that's Quahog area. We're doing a little bit of different fishing right now.
Okay.
But as soon as the winter time comes, which is after October, mid-November, so around there, the water get really cold. We go right back over there. So,
oh man, you gotta let us know, Ryan, if you get back in there and things start happening.
You know what? The government probably hired Crocodile Dundee to go in there and throw some dynamite in the water, and they're gone now.
It's crazy because nobody can go there. If you go there, you go. I think the penalty for going there unlicensed from the government was like $100,000 or 10 years in prison if you went and fished there. So it's serious.
Is it near any kind of island or anything? Is there any kind of
Nantucket?
Really?
Nantucket. Yep.
So they could have like
150 miles off the coast of South Nantucket.
Dang.
I have it mapped out. I have my own. I got my own little MacGyver station of fishing maps and where we go. And I'm waiting.
Hide that with the bone. So those things stay safe, right? Yeah, hide that little map with the bone, so that we don't lose that.
Which is awesome because I saw your video and I thought it was legit right away. And Luke and I see a lot of videos, and most of the stuff it just you get that you kind of got to go on your gut feeling on. A lot of Bigfoot videos are faked, and a lot of the other stuff is, I don't know. It's always some people in South America in a cave somewhere, and you're just like, the footage looks horrible, and you're like, we don't post that stuff on our channel. We really try to go after the legitimate sightings because I think a lot of people hoax gets a lot of likes and clicks, but I felt this genuineness to your reaction for one in the video.
That's what a lot of people say because it's crazy. It's like you have to put yourself in my shoes, like when that's happening. And the things that are going through your mind, and you've never experienced this before. It's just, So that's what a lot of people say. They believe my videos because of how authentic my reactions are to the situation, and I really appreciate that because they're as authentic as they can get because they really do happen.
Real.
Ocean's a mystery. Believe that.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, it's probably a better experience to have because I think a lot of people, especially hunters, when they see Sasquatch, they poop a brick and they freak out. And a lot of them give up hunting and they stop hunting forever because it's so traumatic. It's not only something they don't want to talk about, but they're done. They're done going in the woods. It's different though. I mean, a mermaid, these encounters are different because it's almost as if they're trying to give you the opposite effect. Come on in, dive in. The water's warm. The water is fine.
Yeah. It's very true. Very true.
Yeah.
What happened? What do you think would happen if you dove in? You'd be done. They eat you. What do you think? They drown you. They take you.
I don't think they would, but I don't think if that's the whole plan to make me think that it's okay with the nice voice and the nice images. I was having dreams while this was happening of these things, and it was crazy, wild, vivid dreams. Like when I tell you this whole experience while it was happening was a lot. Like I was out in the ocean, I was having dreams of these things grabbing me in the ocean, just pulling me in every which direction. It was just while it was happening, my brain was also living the moment of my subconscious was going crazy.
Wow.
It was.
It makes you wonder. So people have reported this with Bigfoot. Like one guy came on our show and said that he was out in the woods. He was looking for this creature, and then that night he was sleeping, and this thing came back to the cabin and put thoughts in his mind and started projecting images in his mind. And he's seeing himself walk through the woods earlier that day. And so these creatures have this ability to kind of take over your senses. It's not, that sounds fantastic, but Bigfoot's rumored to communicate people telepathically. You're sitting there and it's talking to you, no words, you're hearing something in your mind. So a mermaid having a frequency that takes over it's almost like it takes over your body, and you have this urge to just dive in the water. You don't even know. It's like it's taken over you, right?
It's literally like I had to see a therapist about it. Like after all this stuff happened, I literally need to see a therapist, and just because it was affecting me like a lot. Every shower I took, every time I closed my eyes, I'd hear the noise. I'd freak out. Because I'm like, all right, I'm not in the ocean no more. Like this shouldn't be happening. Like it was just. Wow. It took me like a month and a half, 2 months to get my mental right after breaking the leg and everything. And now I'm pretty good, but we never know how this whole thing might, if it happens again. But
dude, heading back to the waters of Nantucket.
Yeah,
Nantucket, man. That's Ryan. This is wild, and it's cool that you have the footage to go along with the story, because I agree. The experience feels very authentic from your end, and I know it is for you. So that's
thank you. I appreciate it.
It's pretty incredible that you got some of this stuff on film, because it's one of those things you hear about and have been in part of mythology for centuries, and yet here we are in the same way.
The stories, the movies as we were kids. The movies now. It's just there's always a little truth, I feel, to those sort of things.
Agreed.
Yeah. It's like, where does it all come from?
100%.
And tell our listeners where they can follow you and keep up with you on the boat. And I don't know how much you post about this stuff, these days, but yeah, we have a pretty good fan base now. People listening, and they're always very supportive. We have a cool group of people that like our show.
When it comes to posting this stuff, what I post, I want to make sure like it's not maybe this is what I see, because now I can't be that guy. Right. I can't be the guy to post the things that are questionable now. So now I just gotta wait, because people get mad, people get all upset. You don't post mermaid stuff no more. I'm like, well, that's because mermaid stuff hasn't happened.
You're like, I'm not here manufacturing this stuff. So yeah,
I'm sorry, I can't just be like, all right, I'm going on this trip right now. I need you to pop up out the water and do some screws.
You're like, hello in there.
Yeah,
but it's just the whole experience. I'm just very grateful, and I feel blessed to have witnessed something. Bread and butter is that I did catch it on camera, and it's not even that I caught it on camera. I went live.
Yeah.
And like you can't fake that. Like people was like, I went live, no green screen, no out in the ocean, maybe 2 bars of 5G.
Yeah.
I love it. I think we need people like that. And obviously you're going to have all the haters. I mean, people still give us, we do secondhand accounts and people still give us a hard time. So I can't imagine what you've received. I know people are the worst, and it does mess with you. The PTSD does happen with a lot of people who it's a traumatic experience when you see something that shouldn't exist. Even if it's not a terrifying encounter, it still rattles your mind. And
it's something that it's like, how do you think you would feel if you came face to face with the ET? It's like, and then how do you think your life would live after that?
Yeah,
you. How would you live your life knowing that happened to you in that moment? Nobody was there but you.
Mm-hmm. And that's honestly common, Ryan. Like if you've watched any of there's a show on Netflix right now that's called Encounters that's out there, and one of the main guys that had the encounter in Texas, trying to spend his whole life. This is what and typically this happens, and this is not every person, but a lot of people. It becomes all consuming to try to figure out what it was, and that's just one example. There's a gentleman on that show who was
that happened to me for a little bit. I got maybe about $2,000 in night equipment for cameras and stuff that I just haven't put on the boat yet, because it was just like, what am I going to catch? and then like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah, you're just trying to figure out, this experience you had, and where was it in Kenya? Can you
again?
And so that's, dude. We'll look forward to seeing if you catch anything with that new equipment. And
I have a feeling once we do start going fishing there, because we are gonna go back fishing there. It's only a matter of time. This whole process is just gonna make me go.
Well, there are hot spots. That is definitely another thing too. Paranormal stuff sort of follows like in line. Whether there's some ancient
how I feel about it. Like certain area, like this stuff has never happened before besides here, and we were only here for a month's time. And every trip we did out here, something happened. Mm-hmm. So I go by statistics a lot. So that's good for me.
Something's there. Yeah. Well, how can people follow you? Throw out your social handles.
People can follow me on Instagram at @sauce90. On TikTok, I'm .sauce.90. Yeah, my music's up on all platforms. Sauce90. I make music on my spare time. That's pretty much it.
You got the sauce. We got the juice.
Yeah, juice.
Sauce the juice. I like it. Goes good together, man.
Hey, you're a busy man too, man. People are after you. The mermaids are after you. It's you're a man in demand, and we're grateful to have you for some time today, Ryan. Thanks so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We gotta do it again sometime. We gotta link up. I gotta get the bone. We'll do something on the bone.
Get the bone, and the other thing too is if you end up, when you head back to that area and you start cohogging, let us know if anything crazy happens.
I think I'm gonna do things a little differently this time. I think I'm gonna try to go live the whole time on fishing this time.
I like that, dude. Yeah, like a game cam on all the time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'd love it if you'd send us some of those. If you could send us those videos of the.
The videos we talked about today.
Yeah. And that picture of that bone. I'll make some content, and then we can I'll collab on you when we post the episode, and and we can share it around all over the Instagrams and the.
Yeah, people gotta know, man. People gotta know.
They gotta know. Yeah.
My job now, I feel.
Appreciate it, Ryan. I really do, and thanks for not giving up on us and feeling comfortable to come share your story. And there's a billion podcasts out there. We don't give up. We're always trying to find people who've had real experiences and real encounters, and then we bring on a lot of experts too to kind of unpack these concepts.
Yeah, you guys do a really good job. Man.
Thanks,
I appreciate being on here, man. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thanks Ryan.
Bro. Yeah, thanks for the time.
Stay safe out there.
Thank you.
All right, man.
All right, bro. Be good.
See ya.
See you,
Peace,
man.
guys.
Later.